What would 12-year-old you never believe about adult you? When I was not 12 but 13, I got this crazy idea. I dreamed of someday loading a bunch of camping gear onto my bicycle and disappearing for a year or so to ride around the country. Also, when I was 13, I started to see signs of trouble in my family. When I was 17, those family troubles would culminate in my parents' divorce. And when I was 20 years old, I would finally set off on that bike camping trip I dreamed of for so long. So 13-year-old me would be super stoked to hear that the bike trip actually happened, and he wouldn't be entirely surprised about the divorce and its lingering effects to this day. But 12-year-old me? Yeah, he has absolutely no idea what's coming. That I never became the first man on Mars. That was always my plan. I guess, technically, I could still be the first. That all of the things I said I'd always remember and never do as an adult, I've largely forgotten and probably do as an adult. We never got that growth spurt we were promised. That I still laugh at the exact same things. We never achieved that swan status. Still an ugly duckling. For almost 9 years, I've worked literally 1 minute away from a huge water park and I've never gone there. That sometimes, when I am not paying attention, my mama's word slipped right out of my mouth. That I have a kid taller than me. I am not tall or anything, just never pictured being shorter than my 13-year-old. That I am almost 40 and still don't have a stable full of horses. She has friends, good supportive long-term friends. That I too don't know what the fuck I am doing with my life. That I haven't gotten married. That's something I just assumed would happen, and yet here we are, and I'm still single. I think he'd also be surprised at how rough my teenage years were. I live in a whole ass other country and speak another language now. That definitely would have come as a surprise. That I am in bed usually by 8:45 every night. To sleep D. That he would become a scientist after all. Being a dirt floor poor country kid seemed unsurmountable at the time. That I'm overweight and I became a suit. That the brother Io would become my best friend. Edit. Damn. Left this comment before bed. Came back to this. Thank you all for the awards. Lol, this never happens to me on here. Warms my little heart to see so many people with a lot of love for their brothers. I'm 25 and still haven't bought myself a RC car toy like I promised myself before. That I actually like bees now and want to pursue beekeeping someday. I used to hate all bugs no matter what, but with more research, I realized that bees are not so bad. Still hate other bugs though. I actually like exercise and physical activity, it's just pet class that sucked. That I own an ice cream shop D. Edit. Holy cow. I posted my response, went to bed, and woke up to this blowing up. I will also add that, because of my ice cream shop I was a contestant on Chopped. 12-year-old me would be even more shocked by that D. That I'm marrying the girl I had a crush on then. I'd still sit down for an all-night session of Dungeons and Dragons. I made it to 21. That my mom would actually leave my abusive stepdad. Thought it would take a miracle, and that miracle actually came. Just a few years ago I had been prepping my soon-to-be wife for the expectation that we would never visit that side of the family since it just wasn't safe. It all ended up so much better than I ever had imagined. That I would be a firefighter. Yeah, dude, you get to ride in the truck. Hey, you know that girl over there you think is really weird? You're going to marry her. That I've heard a pilot scream mayday mayday before ejecting. I'm an air traffic controller. That I do math for a living. Fucking math. He'd have been so upset. Semicolon. Edit. Wow, did not expect so many replies to this of all posts. Must be a lot of accidental mathematicians out there. I should have been more specific. I'm a financial analyst, so I play with numbers and spreadsheets and that kind of stuff all day. So not even the cool kind of math that helps us get into space or anything. More like, yeah. Last year we spent 45% more on Lacroix for the office than in the previous year. So, maybe less Lacroix this year? Semicolon. Edit 2. For more clarity, all I ever wanted to be was a musician. Even went to school for music. Still play pretty much every day, just never made a living from it. So I went from rock and roll to profit and loss, as it were. That I'm not some super successful rich smart doctor scientist with a Nobel Prize and a bright future ahead of me like every adult told me I would be. That I'm on my way to becoming a doctor. 12-year-old me would scream why, rant about how doctors are the scariest beings ever, and how the hospital drives you nuts. 12-year-old me really wanted to be a pilot. My penis never grew. I can dance. That my father would die young. Both of his parents lived well into their 90s. He was athletic, non-smoker, not a risk taker. He also turned out to be the only one in his family to get cancer, a particularly deadly type. That I found a girl that buys me Star Wars Lego at Christmas. He'd be blown away that I'm writing professionally now. How little I've accomplished. How many emotions were cancelled. That I'm still alive. 12-year-old me was suicidal depressed. Still am. Hoping I will get better eventually, but it's been 23 years and hasn't gotten better yet. We got braces at 31D vertical body.